L7 Informatics, give you an overview of the company and get you an idea of like what we stand for. So a little bit about myself first. My name is Kevin McMahon and I'm the solutions lead for precision therapeutics within L7. I've over a decade of experience within biotechnology, working in companies like Pfizer, Takeda, CSL, and also a small CDMO called BioUticon back in the day. What I can say about working within the industry and then coming into this level is that I've felt the pain that a lot of you have gone through on a daily basis. Like things like trying to get CPV reports built out of multiple batch records, trying to pull out the paper information, taking it out of those silos and building out your CPV reports, or getting your CMC reports for any information that you have to get to create reports on that. So about L7 Informatics, one thing that's very interesting is the makeup. We have 50% scientists and process engineers like myself, and 50% bioinformatics and software engineers. And what that means is we understand your business and your language. So it's not a case of we're going to be asking you questions about how do you do your business. We're going to be suggesting how you can do better and how you can use our product to actually build out your processes really quickly. What we see as the problem is that data and process silos persist through the biologics value chain. And what that means is, like, again, we're going back to the paper batch records, possibly forms that you're filling in, even spreadsheets, where you actually have silos of data where it's very hard to extract the information. Now, what we generally then move on to would be point solutions, where we create digital silos off that data. Again, we're still creating the barriers that it's very hard to get the data out, contextualize it, and actually get some information from it. So if we move on an additional layer across the company, you're talking about like multiple different departments with heterogeneous applications in each one of them. You might have 5, 6 different limbs across the company. You might have one MES system with multiple QC systems as well. And what we see is then we end up using paper to transfer information across these elements, which costs time and money. So the next level of attempt to solve this is where we integrate the system with an orchestration layer on top. But again, it still slows down your business process and adds in an extra layer of architecture that you have to manage through your processes. So it's extra complexity on top of it. So our approach is the unified platform solution. So let's educate you a little bit on it and just tell you how we approach it. So Gartner has already identified the unified platform as the way forward. The first 3 elements here are what we just discussed on the point solutions, the paper solutions, the integrated applications. And what they've pointed out is the unified platform allows you to have common data model, common code, common tooling, and really enhances the speed of your business by having all of those data connected at the very start. So ESP, which is Enterprise Science Platform, we start from an Industry 4.0 principles. That's where we build up from. And we start with the data models. That's created first. Then you go on to your integration layers for all of your different systems, so your interoperability. Then you move into the visibility with the applications, where the people meet the process. And then on to transparency, where you can actually do some investigation into your data. So looking at ESP, we have multiple layers of like how we are interoperable with your different levels within your site. So thinking of like on the application layer, we have all of the suite of native applications within ESP. And then we're also interoperable with all of your data layer. So equipment, we can do connectors into equipment, into your automation, into your ERP systems. And what that does is allows us to build up the data model with a contextualized data that now I can actually see all of the information that I need. I don't have to pull it out, I don't have to clean it. I'm not going to have to join this batch with this ERP data from all these different silos. So taking it from the paper batch record, now we have one model where we create all of your digital twins of either your processes or your objects that are important to your business processes. So the way ESP works is we have an application called master, and that's where we do all of our building and our modeling of our processes. creating all the digital twins. And the way it works is it's like a text file, what we call YAML files. And this gets generated into human-readable process PDFs and into process flows. So it's very, very exportable. And this is very important, and I'll show you later on why this is a very important element of it. But it's a very simple format on how we build it. So the core principles, most complex things are built from simple primitives. And the same is true about ESP. If we look at the primitives for DNA, we're looking at nucleotides. If we're looking at music, we're looking at notes. Same with ESP. ESP has 3 main primitive models: entities, protocols, and pipelines. And with these 3 base levels, we can build any business process. We're agnostic to the business process, and we can create all the complexity that you need that fits with your system. So again, this is a view of like how we can use a composable architecture. So we're using those primitives, you can build up more complex processes, but you can reuse all of these elements again and again. And the way ESP works is we will have a library on the side where you just drag and drop. And we try and make it as simple as possible for the actual user to create all of their content themselves. So we will come in and generate the first level, but then we will allow you to go and run with it, build out your things, do your versioning of your processes. So it's really easy for you to manage as opposed to us having to come in every time you need to make a change or a version. So again, you're looking at the workflow chain of the primitives being rendered into executable formats where the people meet the process. So an MES, a LIMS, an ELN. It's dependent on what your needs are in the company. So again, this creates like this virtuous cycle where you publish, execute, monitor and mine, and then optimize and redesign, and you just go around again. So it's very much like a software development sort of life cycle, but within a GMP space and matching with what you're very much used to, like with maybe paper document versioning. So cell and gene therapy in a box. Let's look at it as we've got like manufacturing operations management. So within ESP, you would have your MES system, and then you have all of the supporting applications that you need around it. This allows you to have cross-departmental, cross-functional, all data in one place, unified platform approach. So this makes everything available to you in a clean format. And what that allows us to do is to create knowledge graphs of all of the information. So think of each one of these nodes as possibly a batch. One of these spheres is a batch. And if I go to a connection from the batch, maybe I'm going to have a step within that batch where I took a sample. And maybe that sample is going to be connected onto a test or a method. And it's going to be connected onto a C of A. So you can see how the map then the ESP creates this knowledge graph of all of the information that's associated with your process. So that's the beauty about a unified platform. You have everything connected and contextualized immediately. So how can we use this? Actionable insights across the manufacturing and QA/QC operations. So without having that sort of visibility, that visibility layer that we showed earlier on, you don't have the view of like, all right, so where are my samples at this time? Where is my test? At what point are we at? What equipment is available? So all these information that you need to really run your operations well. So when you have that knowledge graph with all of that information at your fingertips, you can start building up business intelligence, which really accelerates the ability to make decisions really quickly at the time that you're actually executing. So let's look. It could be a case of you're looking for where am I in my process? Have we hit the right time points? What is the expected times? All that information becomes available to your management layer so that they're able to have visibility. Maybe this is going across a whole network or a global enterprise system where you want to have visibility at the C-suite level. And then you're looking at utilization at that local level. Well, what equipment is available? What people are available? So this again is like our scheduling application, which sits within ESP, again, part of the unified platform. So all of this helps to speed up your business and allows you resource management, workflow management, and continuous process verification. And these are only just a small element of what you can do with this information. You might have already had certain algorithms that you run on it to do analysis, and that information is available to you. So another element that we have within ESP is technical transfer. So this is something that you're probably all very used to, like iTunes, where artists will make up their music, they'll put it on here, and then you're able to download and listen to it. And in ESP, we have something very similar called L7 Hub. And this allows you to build up your content, but also to share it. Now, we also build up our own content where we have standard content just to get you started, where you would have process flows already built, and you have your data models already for maybe equipment, for samples, things like that. And that's easy for you then to reuse at any point. It's all about being composable and reusable. So the way we look at it is we will have our own hub with standard content that you can pull into your local hub. And what this allows you then, you can build your own content on top of that, version it, and then you can move it into maybe your site production instance. But when you look at it on a global, maybe you have multi-sites, sister sites along the way, you're reusing the same content. And remember that we were saying it's in a text file format. It's very easily transferred. So it's like a push of a button to move it out to maybe 3 sites where you have common tooling and common processes that you want to just say, hey, we've got this developed and we're moving it out. So manufacturing and QC out-of-the-box templates. This is an example of some of the CNGT templates that we have for manufacturing, for QC testing, and for material management as well. And these are ready to use straight away, or you can add to them and use them just as a skeleton of what maybe you're going to use as a template of your process. And we've seen that with customers where they haven't exactly got their process set out yet, and they use our templates and then add on the nuances to their process that they want to add in. But they have the skeleton to work from. So that's really powerful to be able to do that, whether it's from us or from content that you've created yourself. So a few manufacturing case studies we want to look over. Vernal Biosciences is using our full platform for the manufacturing, QC, EM, and process analytics. And it's really speeded up their ability to get to the market and change around the customer's timelines. Where a customer will come to them with a new process, they can create it from templates that they've already built on that's available for their equipment that is in their suite. Now, if they get new equipment, obviously you're going to be creating new content to execute against. But you can see the value of all this. They have visibility for all of their customers, for all the processes that they're going to work through, and they have the reusability and composability of the content within ESP. Gridalis is another example of a company that uses us from end to end. So they're a vein-to-vein process, and they have all of their quality, QC, everything is built into this one workflow chain. Previously, what they had was a very complicated paper process where they were trying to capture and track all of their materials, whether it was chain of custody, chain of identity, shipping, storage, manufacture, QC testing. All of these elements were then all built into one workflow chain within ESP, and they were able to manage all of that. Dana-Farber, another company, or another hospital, university hospital over in the States, does a lot of really, really cool work with the CAR-T processes and different therapeutics. So they have a multitude of testing, multitude of products that they do all the time. And they chose us because we were so composable, and it made it so easy for them to actually build out all of their processes using similar elements along the way. So if there's anything I want to get across to you today is the composability of ESP. So again, remember I said that the unified platform allows you to have one architecture across the whole board. So that's whether you're executing in MES, you're executing in your ELN, you're executing in LIMS, or you're in LES. You have the same architecture. One person maybe build out. You could have like maybe a team of process engineers, process scientists that are building out these methods and executions for you. And they're the ones that are managing all of the versioning and version control for you. So that reduces the amount of SMEs you need for point solutions and separate systems. And we can also, the interoperability, again, working with some of your older systems that you might have. We don't have to use all of our systems, but we can connect on to older systems if need be as well. So we're very much on the orchestration level of all of that data too, and of your process flows. So we're based out there. Our table is right along the wall. So I'd really welcome any of you to come over if you need to ask any more questions. If you want to drill in a little bit more and ask me a few questions about how ESP works and what our offering is. Thank you.